Hello and welcome back to Reel It In, episode 4. I am once again joined by, I'm Kevin Shine, and I'm once again joined by.
Hi, I'm Lee.
Today we're going to be talking. Well, we mentioned last week that we had gone to see Doctor Sleep in cinema, the Shining sequel. When was The Shining released?
Shining was released.
1988?
Yeah, no, the film was released in 1980, but the book was released in
Oh, it was
77 or something like that.
Okay, right, so 1980. So Stephen King. Sorry. We're going to be talking about Doctor Sleep today and The Shining, and we're just going to sort of touch on different adaptations of Stephen King novels, I suppose.
The mad bastard that he is.
Very briefly, but our main focus today is The Shining and Doctor Sleep, and mainly our focus is Doctor Sleep because it's a new movie. So in 2013, 2013 was published. Doctor Sleep was published. Stephen King decided to do a sequel to one of his most, I guess, revered novels, and
it's one of his only sequels that he's only ever done. Like all of his novels are alluded to taking place in kind of
the same universe. Yeah,
that are all connected by the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
But this was like one of his first direct sequels to a prior work that he had done.
Yeah. So I guess we should start this off with talking about The Shining, which is a movie that you would know an awful lot about, as you had some sort of family connection to it.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick's my dad.
No, not quite that.
Well, no, let's talk about right. The film obviously is kind of revealed.
Well, we're going to be mainly focusing on the film adaptations of these books.
I thought this was a book podcast, not a
I've
film
read
podcast.
The Shining 1. The Shining 1.
The Shining 1.
Shining 1.
I've
read The
Shining
Shining
4 is my
and
favourite.
I've gotten about halfway through Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, they're kind of an acquired taste, as are the films. You either love them or you hate them.
Yeah, I really do like Stephen King as a writer. I think his books are very interesting, sort of. But yeah,
interesting is probably the best word to put it.
His writing style, you need to be in the mood to read a Stephen King novel, in my opinion.
And you need to be prepared for some weird ass stuff to happen.
Oh, some really fucked up shit, yeah.
And that fucked up shit will come out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
But with The Shining, the novel, it is more of a traditional. At its ground form, it is a traditional ghost story.
Yeah, it's a relatively short story. It's about 400 pages
for a King, yeah.
Yeah.
But that the Shining was obviously King wrote it at a time when he was severely dealing with alcoholism and drug abuse and stuff. Yeah. So
there's a lot of things.
He vented a lot of his anger and his personal issues into that story.
In a lot of his novels.
In a lot of his novels.
But yeah, The Shining
probably the most forefront
comes across. Yeah, an awful lot.
And when it came out in 1977, it was a big hit. It's a number 1 bestseller. It was just a year after. I could be wrong on this, but like Carrie came out in the film
75, I think.
The film came out, the 75 or 76, and that was the first adaptation of a King novel.
Yeah.
So
and it was met with absolute
it's still revered as a classic to this
by
day.
the horror fans. It was met as with
and it put Brian De Palma on the map and everything like
that.
Yeah. So King was big news at the time, and then his next novel came out, The Shining, and then everyone's thinking, alright, so what's one of his next adaptations going to be? And there were adaptations of other King novels before The Shining came out. I think Salem's Lot was one that was in the 70s.
I think so.
That's the vampire one.
That's a great book. Yeah, the adaptation.
The TVs. I think it was a TV miniseries.
Yeah,
it was.
I think it was. Yeah, it's okay.
It came out in the 70s, and I could be wrong on that. I'm not as well versed.
The book is very good.
But yeah,
it's very fucked up though. Even for King.
Oh wow, I've read it. So that came out, and then Stanley Kubrick came in, and Kubrick has been kind of notorious when it comes to adapting previous works of fiction, such as Doctor Strangelove, which is really nothing at all like the novel.
No, yeah.
2001 is probably the closest.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, Stanley Kubrick, don't get me wrong, Stanley Kubrick is one of the greatest directors of all time. But yeah, he's fairly known for taking source material and kind of not shitting on it, but reinterpreting it so much that the original authors kind of don't really enjoy it, to be honest.
Well, the author of the novel.
Yeah, didn't mind it too
Didn't
much.
mind it, and I'm not entirely sure what the opinion on 2001 was. But
Stephen King, however.
Oh dear.
So the Shining movie came out in 1980. And
Bombed at the box office.
Oh, completely. But it's become
Hated by critics.
it's become arguably
Stanley Kubrick and Shelley Duvall were both nominated for Worst Director
yeah.
and Worst Actress,
Yeah.
respectively. Much deserved, I believe. You know,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's a horrible
film,
movie.
it had no talent whatsoever
No,
put into it.
it like in all honesty, as we're talking about this right now, people listening probably don't even know what The Shining is. In all honesty, it didn't have much of a length of like a lifespan, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. It's just one of those forgettable films.
It was one of those films that just came into the cinema, left, and that was it, really.
That's it, at
you
the
know?
end of the day. And like, if you do dig it up and you actually do find it, bury it again. Bury it badly. Now, The Shining is a great adaptation of it. No, we kid, of course. The Shining is like...
It's gone down as one of the greatest
If the
films, if not the greatest film and horror film, and up there with the greatest films of all time.
Stanley Kubrick was kind of the original cult classic director. Like, none of his films...
No, even 2001 was...
Oh, that bombed.
Yeah, it was relatively...
I think his biggest hit was probably Doctor Strangelove.
And that is like one of his least known... Like, it is a big movie, but
I know. A lot of people just forget that Stanley Kubrick directed it because
Yeah.
it's so wacky and
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
But it wasn't really until I think it was a year later, or no, it could have been a couple of years when Full Metal Jacket came out.
That was huge, yeah.
That he was kind of starting to become respected amongst film critics and stuff.
And then people started going through his older works and going, hang on a minute,
wait, this guy's actually kind of good.
This is actually really good, yeah.
Because I think a lot of it, like...
It would have been one of Jack Nicholson's first major starring roles after... was it after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, it was like 6 years later.
Yeah.
It was after... Oh yeah, like Jack Nicholson was at the height of his popularity when he did The Shining.
Yeah.
He'd done the Chinatown, he'd done One Flew Over
Oh
the
yeah,
Cuckoo's
yeah.
And so, like, you know, the 70s and the 80s were like...
Or his pomp, yeah.
Were his pomp.
Yeah.
But he'd been acting since the 50s.
I know that, yeah.
But, and that's... and when Jack Nixon was hired to play Jack Torrance, King fought really against it.
Really?
Because Jack Nicholson, when you look at the guy, the main idea in the novel with Jack Torrance, arguably the main character of The Shining, is that he's supposed to be an everyman.
He's meant to be a normal guy that suffers with alcoholism. But is a normal looking guy. You wouldn't like, and
He's definitely not.
Jack Nicholson
is batshit insane from the start of the film.
There's a reason why Jack Nicholson got cast as the Joker in 1989. He has a face, in all honesty.
Yeah, he is like bonkers from the start of the film.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
And yeah, I can understand why King
had a lot of problems with that adaptation.
Oh yeah, like a lot of like if you look at the differences between the novel and
there's a lot of them. Yeah,
like the Grady Girls, the Hatchet, but
the ending.
The ending, of course. But it's then you have to bring it to the question of like adaptation. Like, do you just copy everything from the novel, or do you go off and make it your own? And I think Kubrick did a smart thing. Like, you know, of course he did a smart thing.
Well, yeah, it's gone down as
he's Stanley Kubrick, but you know, he made it his own film, and you know, people actually regard The Shining, that film, as not necessarily less Stephen King's The Shining and more Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Yeah.
We'll get into the TV adaptation of The Shining later on, but he made a smart decision, I believe, and he put his own craft into it. And like you said, it's iconic. Like there were visual images from that film. The film is 40 years old next year.
Oh, and there's still
nearly
pop culture references.
There are still pop culture references to it. Like there's still been parody in shows and TV.
Oh, yeah.
And with the advent of Dr. Sleep, that's kind of resurged lately.
Yeah.
But as you know, I can see why King would have been upset. You know, it was a story that meant a lot to him.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, the first person to watch this film at the end of the day was Stephen King. It was in his head, yeah. It was the first person to see the story was in his head, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I understand that when you're going through that and you're making that for, I don't know how many years it took him to write The Shining, maybe like 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah, it would have been a long time.
It was a long time for a novel, to be fair. And I understand that if you go to a cinema then, or a premiere or something, and watch something, and it's not what you had envisioned,
Even though your name is on like the top credits.
then I understand why you would be a little bit
Because
aggrieved.
Stanley Kubrick wasn't interested in telling a tale about alcoholism and like a moral story.
I don't think he had the time to, in all honesty.
He had the time to, but he decided to focus on
the
abstract,
paranormal
abstract elements of it. See, there's nothing remotely if you think about it, nothing remotely paranormal happens in that film, except for visions. The only remotely paranormal thing that happens in The Shining is when he's locked in the food cellar and the door opens by itself.
Yeah.
That is the only physical manifestation of something paranormal happening.
Yeah.
Everything else is like through visions and through.
Or is it?
Yeah,
I mean, Doctor Sleep goes into that quite more in depth.
Yeah, but that's more Stephen King than it is.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. But that was what Kubrick wanted to focus on: the abstract, the ambiguous nature of the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah.
Is what's going on all inside Jack Nicholson's head? Was he always there? Is he?
Or is he just batshit crazy?
Are they all batshit crazy? What does that portrait at the end of the film mean?
Yeah. I never figured that out. I don't think anyone. There's theories.
The main theory is that his soul is now trapped there
in the Overlook. Yeah,
and I think Doctor Sleep
kind of confirmed
that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Or like he was always there, and like a guy looked like him or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
but that's one of the great things about it. It just leaves you like saying, okay, what was that about? And there is no direct answer. Like Kubrick has passed away. He's been gone now.
Yeah, and to a certain
years,
extent,
so like he can't answer it.
To a certain extent, in my opinion, Doctor Sleep, obviously, as you say, Stanley Kubrick's long gone at this stage. So, if you take The Shining as just The Shining, you can have that ambiguous nature, and you can still have those theories and stuff. But to a certain extent, Doctor Sleep, in my opinion, now I liked Doctor Sleep. Don't get me wrong. We'll get into that, right? But Doctor Sleep kind of gets rid of an awful lot of that sort of ambiguous nature of the Overlook. You learn a lot more about what's actually happening in the hotel, and it kind of makes The Shining to a certain extent, a little less sort of. I guess ambiguous is the best word for it, but a little bit more. Like you get more backstory, you get more lore, you get to understand the hotel itself a bit more, if you know what I mean.
You're talking about the novel or the film?
The films.
Oh yeah, the thing. I suppose, but like I guess if they didn't do that, then people would be saying, oh, why didn't you do that?
Yeah, where was the Shining
have to
stuff?
please the common audience, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But
now don't get me wrong, I fully think for the first hour of Doctor Sleep, I was sat in my chair, sort of thinking to myself, it's okay, like this is grand, sort of. And then when it did kick into the Shining stuff, and the stuff with Danny Torrance, and the stuff and the references to the Shining, and obviously with his shining, his actual powers, it became more interesting to me when it did bring it back to the source material of the Shining, sort of. I think that's mainly the reason why I probably put the book down about halfway through it, is because it wasn't gripping me. Now, if the rest of the book is like the rest of the movie, I don't really see how it can be.
No, it can't be, no.
That's the thing I don't understand. But yeah, I overall, I definitely think that the Shining references and the more Shining feel of Doctor Sleep in the latter stages of the movie are where it shines.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't mean that. I did not mean that.
Oh my God! That was actually painful.
I did not even mean that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, you were.
I feel wrong after that.
Yeah, the difference is, obviously, if you know how the novel The Shining ends, Doctor Sleep is as faithful as an adaptation of the book as probably The Shining is to The Shining, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But King had a lot of supervision authority over Mike Flanagan and his work, and because King is like arguably at like the peak of his popularity now.
Oh, I don't think there's any argument.
Since the 80s.
Even to a certain extent more, in all honesty.
It's like every second horror film that's being made now that's based on.
Yeah, I think our generation really are only starting to appreciate Stephen King as a writer. In all honesty, I think the It movies have done an awful lot to help that.
For better or for worse.
I like them. I think that they're both very good. You haven't seen two.
No, I want to, but I'm not a big fan of the first one.
That is mental to me, yeah. But anyway, yeah, they're both very good movies. And Stephen King, yeah, I mean, his books are flying off the shelves at the moment.
And all of his work is being Misery's being remade.
Oh yeah, everything. Yeah,
everything's being remade into these pop. I know, yeah, they are playing.
I guess technically it started with the Chloe Grace Moretz Carrie. Which,
really?
Was that the first remake of an adaptation of Stephen King's? That's not a very good movie.
No, there was The Shining was the first one.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, King, was at the height of his popularity, and he was at the 80s, and in 1980 or 1970.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we've heard about these things. There's a reason why we've heard about the source material. It is because in the 80s, Stephen King was one of probably the top 5 American fiction writers at the time. Yeah,
and so when you go ahead and you start ripping pages out of his work and saying, nah, not gonna use that, not gonna use that, not gonna use that. Because King saw a lot of himself in the character of Jack Torrance. With the alcoholism.
He sees a lot of himself in an awful lot of characters he writes.
Yeah, and Shining, the novel, is effectively a moral story. He wants to, a character arc. He's supposed to redeem a redemption story.
Yeah.
He wants to redeem himself, and Kubrick was not interested in that whatsoever. In the novel, Jack Torrance is, he is more fleshed out.
He is. All of them are a lot more fleshed out.
He is arguably a more interesting character than he is in the novel.
Yeah, in the movie, there's more of a emphasis on the hotel rather than the actual family.
Because the hotel itself, in the novel, the hotel itself is an entity of its own. And Dr. Sleep kind of confirmed that, unfortunately, as well. It's an entity of its own. It wants to absorb, Danny Torrance's powers of Shining and stuff. But in the film, what Kubrick does is, the Overlook Hotel does become a character itself, but not through malevolent force powers or weird ghostly apparitions. It's through silence, through wide shots, through never-ending corridors. It's like a labyrinth of sorts, which is again hyper-realized by the invention of the maze, which the maze was not in the novel.
No.
And the maze was completely made up for the film.
Yeah. Which was brilliant. It was brilliant, genius.
Because that is it gave way to top 5 horror chase scenes of all time.
Oh yeah.
And in the book, it's more it's just hedge animals.
Yeah.
And obviously they come to life and stuff, but that could be you could view that as a budgetary concern because they didn't.
That would have been very difficult.
Would have been very difficult to do.
And it could have looked awful in all honesty.
Yeah, and that would have ruined a lot of the. There's no grand special effects in The Shining, aside from maybe
apart from the elevator.
Yeah,
the elevator.
At the end, that was just just pouring blood on the elevator.
I am still adamant that they used the same shot in Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. Jumping the gun a lot there, son. But yeah, there was no mad special effects. It was a relatively low budget film. I presume. I presume the most amount they spent was getting Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Before that, there are going to be spoilers for both movies here.
Oh yeah, but if you haven't seen The Shining, then what are you doing?
Yeah, well, The Shining, yeah, but there is going to be spoilers for Doctor Sleep as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we get to Doctor, I don't think we've spoiled it so far, have we?
The elevator thing's a bit of a spoiler.
I think that's in the trailer.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Alright.
Well, if you've seen The Shining, then it's not going to come as a big of a shock. But yeah, when we get to Doctor Sleep, there will be spoilers.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
But
now we're going into The Shining spoilers, which, as Lee has said, if you haven't seen The Shining, I'm actually telling you right now, turn off this podcast and go and see The Shining, because don't listen to us. It's just we're not going to be able to do it justice how good it is.
And if you're wondering, if you live in the UK, I would recommend on your first time watching the UK cut. The UK cut is
There's a different cut?
There are 2 different cuts.
I did not know that.
The UK cut is about 2 hours 10 minutes. No, it's about roughly 2 hours. And yes, you know, it is a slow film. You need to go in with that mindset. Like, this is not going to be like a jump scare fest.
No.
You need to go into this notion. Yeah, this is going to be, you know, a very slow paced film. It relies a lot on atmosphere. It relies a lot on what you see in the frame. You know, you're allowed to put the pieces together yourself. And you're allowed to, it's open to your own interpretation. Like, if you're expecting answers from this film, then no.
You're gonna hate it.
You're gonna hate it. Yes, you're gonna hate it. But if
if you're open to being frustrated about it, then you'll like it.
But do go for the UK cut if it is your first time. It is an easier watch. The US cut, it's about 20 minutes longer. It does drag out a bit of the running time, and it is a lot longer.
I have no idea which one I've seen.
You're not missing out on too much, but like, if you're interested, then by all means go ahead and try and pick it up. It's on 4K now, and Blu-ray. So if you
and it's meant to be brilliant on 4K.
Yeah, it looks very good. If you can't pick it up, then pick it up. If you just haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't, then
you can watch it on Now TV.
Yep, you can. With the differences between the novel and the story, like, you know, obviously he wasn't interested in alcoholism. He wasn't interested in redemption. Like, he just wanted to make a film.
Yeah, the batshit starts very early in the film. Starts about 40 minutes in thereabouts. So I mean, like, we all know the iconic scenes. We know the blood.
The 2 girls in the hallway.
The 2 girls in the hallway.
The woman in the bathtub.
The woman in the bathtub. Him at the bar is pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Mainly, I mean, one of the reasons why I knew all these scenes, and I say it is for a lot of people, is that one Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, in all honesty. Like, it gave it a new lease of life, in all honesty. And then obviously, probably the most famous line to come out of the whole movie, which was not in the book. I don't know whether Jack Nicholson improvised this.
He improvised on the set.
There you go. The Here's Johnny, when he puts the axe through the door, and Shelley Duvall is at the other side with the knife.
And the axe itself is an invention of the film.
It is, yeah,
it's
it is.
It's a rope mallet that he uses in the novel.
It's just a man being sort of possessed to kill his family, effectively.
Well, then again, is it possession? Is he being possessed?
Is he possessed, or is he just going crazy?
Because there is a lot of, hints that, he is just losing his mind, like, because he's been off alcohol for like 6 months,
and he's stuck up in a mountain, and
he has a kid. Previously he did abuse his child physically, and he does say it.
Is that said in the movie?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, right, yeah.
It is when he's at the bar. He says it to Lloyd.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he said he admits his anger towards his wife
and then the other side of it is that, is it a possession, because apparently this happened
on an Indian burial ground.
Well, there's that, but also the same occurrence happened about a year earlier.
This has been like a reoccurring thing.
Where, with the 2 girls.
With the 2 girls, yeah. But
whose father killed them or something.
With an axe.
Yeah, with an axe, yeah.
Effectively, but
and you hear about all that, and you learn about that story, and then eventually you see it effectively coming out in Jack Torrance.
Yeah. Well, but is it him just hearing about that and saying, "Oh, if it worked for him, it could work for me"?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the best things about this movie, is that you come out of it and it makes you think more than anything else, and you come up with your own story about it.
There's not many horror films, which unfortunately, or even films in general today, that like make you think as much as like a film like The Shining does.
Yeah, the only thing that really does point towards the paranormal without Jack is that Danny, the kid who has The Shining, which is some mystical, like, psychedelic powers that, I don't know, it's very ambiguous what The Shining is. Once again, it goes more into it in Dr. Sleep. He can see different apparitions of different people who have died in the hotel, I guess, like the 2 girls. He sees one of the most fucked up things in a bathtub. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it's really, really weird. Which is actually referenced in Dr. Sleep a lot more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is iconic, but I like yourself. I was a bit puzzled by, like, okay, they're really focusing on this a lot now. Like, if there was anything that they would have, like, if I was him, you know, I granted, it was the only that the woman in the bathtub is the only hint that we're given that these ghosts can harm you.
Yeah.
Because it happens off screen, so we don't know if the ghost did it.
No.
Did his father do it? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But I guess that's why, because I was the one that stuck with him the most, and it was really the one. He only really came.
Well, it is the only one that really chases him. In all honesty, like.
Yeah, the old lady, and the only ones he saw were the Grady twins.
Yeah.
And the old lady, from my knowledge, anyway.
But yeah, as far as I remember,
And
that's it.
Shelley Duvall saw one of the guests at the party, and the strangest scene in the film is the bear.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is about.
No.
I don't really want
That's
to.
not referenced in Doctor Sleep.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm sure Kubrick knew exactly what he was doing with it, but I don't think anybody else did.
I don't know, to be honest. So, I mean, the ending of The Shining,
like I said, with the novel, it is a redemption arc.
yeah, it's a redemption arc,
He
and
redeems himself. In fact, he kind of saved, Jack Torrance kind of saved today at the end of it.
yeah,
The novel.
Yeah.
He fights back against his demons.
and he burns down the hotel.
Yeah, he blows up the hotel in a very kind of spectacular kind of.
Yeah, and he saves his family
Yeah.
from the hotel. In the movie, he chases
and
Danny,
and he freezes to death.
and he freezes to death. Effectively, yeah, that is effectively how
A
it
bit
goes.
more morbid.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a deleted scene where Barry Nelson, who plays Stuart Ullman, who was the first actor to ever play James Bond, visits Shelley Duvall in prison. Hospital.
in prison. They blamed it all on her.
Blamed it all on her.
God almighty.
In hospital, and he tosses the same ball that Danny finds in the
hallway.
In the hallway
Yeah.
to him, and he says that Jack Torrance's body was never found.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
And I think they got rid of that. That has been.
Well, because they couldn't get Jack Nicholson to do another one, I would say.
Well, I don't think Kubrick was really up for doing another one. You got to remember, Doctor Sleep was not.
I also don't think Stephen King would have given them the rights to do another
No,
one.
you can fuck off. You can touch any of my work again. But got to remember, Doctor Sleep was not, wasn't even created at that time.
No.
But it was just it was probably just another hint of saying, oh, what happened? Is it ambiguous? Did he get out? Did he not get out and stuff?
It's one of the funniest scenes when you see him frozen. It's just one of the weirdest looking things.
Yeah, it's odd. It is one of the only proper cheap kind of effects.
Yeah,
because it might have been because I've read the script. I've read the script, the original script.
You have different ins into The Shining.
I have ins to The Shining. For those of you who don't know, my granduncle worked on both 2001 and The Shining as a head rigger. He was in charge of creating, sets, part of the construction of sets, supervising them, and he was obviously there for a majority of the filming, and he in the end he got to bring home some of the props. The moment the only props that he has a few of his call sheets of him, what documents he had to sign and what he had to bring around with him. He has one of the original copies of the script. Yeah. It's not shooting script, it's pre-script.
Yeah.
So it's just dialogue and it's very basic. And he owns an eagle statue that's seen in the interview scene.
It's a very famous statue,
Yeah, it's not at the forefront, but
no, but it is for Shining fans. It's a big.
Yeah,
thing.
You see it. Yeah, it's there, and it's one of the connotations towards another theory, which is the whole Native American ghost theory. You see a lot of in the burial ground. You see a lot of Native American portraits in the background, the hotel and stuff. But and he used to own a few more props. He owns a few of the chairs as well. But
I still say he should have taken a corner of the carpet, just ripped out a corner.
In the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta remember at the time, nobody really.
No one knew it was gonna be the thing it was. Yeah, I know.
And when he found out, oh, this is tanked, I was I'm just gonna bring foodies home because they're kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, nearly half a century later, it's one of the most popular horror films of all time.
Yeah.
And part of him probably does I never actually got a chance. I did do a documentary on him, and you can check it out on our YouTube channel. Shameless plug-in, but if you are interested in more information on that, do check it out.
Yeah.
But
I did not do the documentary.
No, you did not. But you went off and made your own very good documentary.
Thank you.
But like a part of him probably does regret selling a lot of them at the start in the 80s and the early 90s.
You told me he had Shelley Duvall's knife.
He had a knife. I don't know if it was Shelley Duvall's knife or it was some knife that was used in the film.
If that was Shelley Duvall's knife, then that's a big thing. Like.
Yeah, because you gotta remember, like, was it?
And he had Jack Nicholson's eyebrows, I think, at one stage. Like he had.
I was like, what? I had no idea what that was about. Nice one.
Oh my God.
This has been a shit show of a
There's
fucking podcast.
a lot of editing to do.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. But yeah, and you know, he sold a lot of it. Not, he wouldn't have gotten a lot for it back then, but like with the stuff that he has now, you go get a lot for it. But like, he's not gonna.
It's not something that you would sell, no.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
And I fully respect him for it. And you know, he is like a large inspiration for me getting into film.
Yeah.
You know, all he did was he saw an advert on the telly, and then went to the UK, and he ended up working, unbeknownst to him at the time,
We're one of the best directors.
one of the most influential directors of all time.
Yeah. And on two of the most influential movies of all time.
Influential films of all time. So there you go.
That's Lee's life right there.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should go into Doctor Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So Doctor Sleep. I mean, how do you describe Doctor Sleep? Doctor Sleep is The Shining with hillbillies, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Hillbillies and Zatanna from Batman.
Yeah. So I do like Doctor Sleep, don't get me wrong, I really do like it. I thought it was very good. As I said, I think the first hour is very strange, and I think it drags a little, in all honesty. I was sort of sat there going, oh God, sort of what is this, in all honesty? They have to establish the hillbilly family, I guess, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean hillbilly family? You mean the Soul Takers?
Yes.
They're not hillbillies, are they?
No, they live in trailers.
Yeah, oh my God, just because they're trailers doesn't mean they're hillbillies.
Okay, fine. They're shining people who kill other shining people to take their shining. Is that not the right description of it?
I don't know if I don't know if they themselves can shine, but
I think that they all can. Yeah, I think they all have certain.
Well, their eyes, they're definitely something else. Their eyes glow.
Yeah.
So they're definitely some other manifestation.
Yeah,
they harness the power.
The main woman, what was her name?
Rebecca Ferguson.
Well, yeah, it is Rebecca Ferguson.
Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat. Yeah, she definitely has some shine.
She can definitely, in some shape or fashion.
And I think her boyfriend or like the main guy in that gang can shine as well, because he can sense people or something.
Yeah, I think they all have some sort of like similar power, but I don't think they're along the lines of say Danny or.
No, they're not as powerful as Danny or
the little girl.
Yeah, that they got to play Danny Torrance was very well cast, to be fair.
He definitely looks more like Ewan McGregor than he did. Daniel Lloyd.
Yeah. But still pretty decently cast, like, and they got the wig good and everything.
Yeah. So yeah, effectively, just follows him in his day-to-day adventures and.
Yeah, and he's still seeing some of the ghosts from the Overlook, and then.
That's all. Like I know we're going to go into spoilers, but like I don't think we should just really break it down bit by bit.
No, we're not going to. No.
But I like yourself. I enjoyed the film. I'm not a fan of Mike Flanagan's work. I think like Haunting a Hill House is one of the best comedies I've ever seen in my entire life.
I really like Haunting of Hill House, but I know that you're adverse to it, I guess.
I'm not a fan of it. I heard that he did the second Ouija film. I heard that was decent.
I haven't seen it.
I'm not big into ghost stories or anything like that, aside from The Shining and Doctor Sleep. So yeah, like when I heard he was directing it, I was like, okay, he's a decent director, but like
he's a very good horror director. Like he's very good at suspense, sort of.
Yeah, and he doesn't, he's one of the few directors today, alongside the likes of Ari Aster and stuff, that he doesn't rely on like jump scares or like blood and gore and stuff. No, don't get me wrong, Doctor Sleep gets gory in a few parts, and this is can be a disturbing film.
It really can. Like, we're not going to go too in detail of Doctor Sleep, because I don't really think we have the time, in all honesty. But
for our own moral clothes.
But basically, like the main thing that happens is the Soul Eaters get established, and in the first hour, and Dick Halloran, the guy from the first one, is still sort of force ghosting himself. Is still sort of force ghosting himself.
Which is another difference from the novel, because in the film he's killed, but in the novel he survives.
Yeah.
So I presume in the novel it's actually him.
Yeah, I presume so. Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't read Doctor Sleep, so
I've read very little of it, but he's force ghosting himself to still talk to Danny Torrance, because he's basically the one that taught him everything about The Shining in The Shining.
He's kind of mental. He's the only father figure.
Effectively. And in this movie, he teaches him how to lock up the ghosts from the Overlook in his own little sort of Sherlock mind palace kind of thing.
Yeah, which takes on the representation of
the maze, and it has coffins in it, and he locks all the ghosts in because mainly the woman in the bath is bothering him and has been bothering him for his whole life or something. Every time he looks at a bathtub, he sees her or whatever, and so he finds out how to do that.
And then he grows up, and he doesn't really live the best life, and he finds, he becomes
Jack Torrance. Yeah, he's an alcoholic who goes into rehab in this movie. And he meets a Latino man who becomes his best friend, effectively. He moves away from wherever he was living. I don't think that's...
fair play to him for not having a set in Maine.
Oh, yeah. It could be. It looks like Maine.
God, Maine.
It could be Derry.
We know Derry is like the best town on the planet.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's basically everything that happens in the first hour. You get established with Abra, who is the little girl who is basically the Danny Torrance of this movie, sort of, that isn't Danny Torrance, like the young Danny Torrance. And Danny Torrance is the Dick Halloran of this movie, sort of. He's mentoring her about her shining, and they're communicating through different shining means. And then the Soul Eaters pick up on her scent or whatever, and then they go hunting her.
It's effectively turned into a bit of a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. And
a good one.
Yeah.
Like you said, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the film. That was very good. For a horror film, for a modern horror, I thought it was better than It.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot more than It, but that's because I like the world. Well, I know this all technically takes place in the same world, but I like the lore behind it. I found it a lot more interesting than the likes of Pennywise and that.
I mean, I'm the complete opposite. I find Pennywise very interesting.
And in terms of cinematography and directing and stuff, Mike Fang, it's the only work of his I've liked really so far. And I think everybody in the film gives really good performances.
Oh no, the acting is brilliant.
Ewan McGregor's brilliant in it. And
he's really good.
And he's brilliant in everything.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with Ewan McGregor.
But he's really good in this. Yeah.
You do buy the fact that he is the same kid from the original film.
Yeah, very easily. Yeah.
And it's a very
mainly because Daniel Lloyd as well didn't have an awful lot to say in the original film. He had a few lines.
But you can buy that quiet nature behind him, and you can. Buying it, is one of the main things you have to get in with, especially when you're making a sequel to, as we said, The Shining.
One of the greatest films of all time. Yeah.
Very daunting task.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
And I think the casting was is spot on. Rebecca Ferguson is very good in the film.
Yeah.
She's brilliant in everything.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic in it. Yeah. They are genuinely creepy. They're a very well made villain cast. To be fair, they're very creepy, and the scene with the baseball kid to me is just it's very very fucked up.
It is a bit hard. I'd say say if you watched, after watching Doctor Sleep and then you went back and you watched The Shining. It is a bit hard to think that they both exist in the same
this
universe.
This one goes paranormal heavy.
It's very Stephen King.
And it's a much more Stephen King. It introduces it explains The Shining pretty damn well, in all honesty, and it does get rid of that ambiguous. By The Shining, I mean the actual powers. And it gets rid of the ambiguous nature of all that sort of side of the story.
It goes deeper into what The Shining can do.
So,
and stuff.
once again, we're not going to go too into the story, but effectively, this is big spoilers, but it comes down to Rose the Hat versus Danny Torrance and Abra. Three Shining, like all the other ones are either dead or gone or whatever has happened. A lot of things happen in that movie, a lot of deaths, a lot of very creative scenes, sort of, and then eventually they get to the Overlook because Danny Torrance decides that the only place that he's going to be able to defeat this woman is in the Overlook, because the Overlook is basically the ultimate shining person, sort of.
Well, it's a dangerous place.
The ultimate soul eater, effectively.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place for people like him, so it's probably going to be a dangerous place for people like her. I'm paraphrasing that. And that's, and
that's when we get
to the fan service central.
It's brilliant. As they are going,
absolutely immaculate.
It's brilliant
how they they redesigned this place. It
is so well done, and this is by a country mile my favorite part of the movie. The second that music, the music from The Shining, kicks in,
and they start recreating the aerial photography from the original.
It's bone chilling, in all honesty. It's actually so well done.
It's been done before where like films of today try to recreate films or like a scenes from an older film or something like I'm sure Halloween Kills is going to have a flashback scene to 1978.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be one or two The Mask is going to be different because they don't have the rights to the William Shatner mask. So but here
they had full rights to everything. Yeah,
it's spot on.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Although the chairs are different.
Are they?
And the statue is not the same. But here's where I got kind of a bit confused for a way that I shouldn't be confused, because I blame more so Marvel on this, because when we get to the Overlook, we meet Jack Torrance again.
Jack Torrance,
and he's played by a different actor.
Though it's not Jack Torrance, technically. I mean, he doesn't remember anything.
It's his ghost.
Yeah, it's basically his
But
ghost.
It's supposed to be the same, and we get flashback scenes of him going on a rampage throughout.
Yes.
It's not Jack Nicholson.
No.
And why I've kind of been spoiled by Marvel is that whenever they wanted to make an actor
younger, they use CGI. Yeah.
And now you got a bit confused. So you've immaculately reconstructed the entirety of not entirety, but all of the Overlook. But you're using a different actor. Now the actress I got to play, Shelley Duvall,
looks very good.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Even the way she speaks and everything. But Jack Nicholson has a very distinct face.
I wonder if they ever considered approaching him first.
If they did, I don't know. Jack Nicholson's been retired now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It was rumored that he was going to be in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He never was. Spoilers. But if you were going to, then you'd have to do it for Daniel Lloyd. You'd have to do it for Shelley Duvall.
I don't know how you do it for Daniel Lloyd. Get on your knees there, and we'll CGI you.
No, they just take they just go to a print of the original film and just recreate it then.
They recreate a lot of the scenes from The Shining, and they're very well done.
It's just very jarring because when you have such. I kind of wish to just rather played stock footage of them. Yeah. Or maybe you just if
I liked it when you first see him. Basically,
he takes the place of Lloyd.
They go for the redemption story here, but on Danny Torrance's part, and it's very well done. Yeah. And I'm sure I don't know what Stephen King thinks of this movie, but it seems
very happy.
It seems like the type of one that he would be happy with. And basically Jack Torrance takes the place of Terrence Lloyd, isn't it, or is it?
Lloyd,
Lloyd, right? Which was the barman, effectively, and he was actually the father of the.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, was he not?
He was another property's caretaker.
Oh, well, okay, right. Well, he's the barman, but Jack Torrance takes that place, and I think it's really well done at the start because it pans up and all you see is half of his face.
Yeah, and they should have left it.
And it's obvious that it's him. But as you say, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, they couldn't get Jack Nicholson, right? Fair enough.
Because he probably
whatever,
would have taken up half the budget.
yeah, whatever, right? But they're keeping it like this, so it's clearly not him, but like it's half his face. You can get over, and then it gives a full shot of him, and you're a bit like, yeah, no, that's just not. It's not.
It's not him.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like him.
No.
He doesn't act like him. It should like they do flashback to, because I thought because he visits the hotel, the room first, the one where he went berserk.
Oh
with,
yeah,
with
327 or.
No,
Oh yeah, to
the
actual
axe.
to their actual.
And he
room,
cuts
yeah.
back, and you just see the axe going into the door, and you see the actress who's playing Shelley Duvall character. Screaming in terror, like, and it's very like well done. It's very like like,
and then Ewan
recreated.
McGregor looks through the
And I thought you just saw the axe going through, and say, okay, that's grand. Maybe if you just showed like maybe when he's walking on the corridor, you just showed like
his legs,
Jack Torrance's feet walking or something. But no, they just go like full out with it, and it did take me out of it for a bit. And
the rest of the references are brilliant though. Can we talk about that blood scene? That has to be the actual scene from the movie. It is the exact same way it went.
you really analysed that blood scene.
I watched it, and like it has to be the same shot. It has to be the same one from the 80s.
I know it's iconic, but I don't really pay attention to the flow of the blood or.
I don't know. It was just very 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 like it. And
that whole thing was very well done. It is a bit like
you see the twins. You see
the twins. You see Mr. Grady. You see the guy with the blood running down his face that says "Great Party." And you see all that, but they become kind of tools at the end to defeat Rose the Hat. Like they become like
they're the
weapon.
one. Basically, Danny releases them from their coffins or whatever. Yeah,
and like
that he had locked them up.
Exactly.
I mean, like. It's weird,
they kind of become tools then at the end, and you're like, I'd rather like see them as like these omnipotent, very powerful.
It explains them a lot more, and it explains what the hotel is a lot more. The hotel is basically I don't know, like it's a feeding ground, I guess, sort of, for these people, and it goes into more. It does get rid of the ambiguous nature of it. Rose the Hat was a very good villain. When she's walking up the stairs after Danny is
very on the nose.
It's very on the nose.
You're like, get it? Even though they like cut back. No, I think they actually cut back to like show us, get it.
And then when she puts that axe in, I didn't know where that axe had gone. In all honesty.
Oh, I thought the Johnson twins were gone there. So I squirmed.
But anyway, she's defeated rather quickly, in all honesty, and then it becomes
then they possess him, and that's when I started saying, okay, this is a bit stupid.
It becomes Danny then chasing Abra around
with an axe and a limp
until such time as like Abra basically says, "This isn't you," sort of thing,
and then it just literally becomes the ending of the Shining novel.
It's essentially Danny is the one.
It's a big middle finger to Stanley Kubrick.
Sort of. Danny is the one that ends up burning down the hotel, and it's ambiguous. And then they pull a sort of a Benny from Texas Chainsaw Massacre fucking 5 in all on. I know that's an obscure reference, but he's just alive all of a sudden. like it's a happy ending. He's
he's not.
What?
No, he's not. He's dead. He's a ghost. He becomes Tony.
Oh, he is. He
becomes Tony.
Edit that out.
No, I'm keeping that in.
No, edit that out. No, edit that in.
Make you sound like an idiot.
Edit that out.
First you get World War II wrong. Now you get this wrong.
Edit that all out.
No, you're not. He effectively, there's a theory that he becomes Tony. What he used to speak to in the original film and the novel. Yeah. Which was effectively an old version of himself.
Yeah, he does. You're right. Yeah, no, I don't know how I forgot.
He's gone. Yeah, unless he snuck out the window when her parents came.
He's just in the bedroom.
He's under the bed. Like,
who are you talking to? Tony's just there. He's just creepily just hanging around the place. Yeah, basically, he becomes basically like her mentor, sort of. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a good sequel. I came out of it pretty happy.
It's probably one or two things could be changed up, but like it's probably like the best you could have made it.
Yeah.
It's like making A Godfather Part 4.
The hotel gets burnt down and everything's happy, sort of.
You don't need to do any more. It is the third cinematic outing for like a shining best work. I suppose before we wrap up, we should briefly talk on the 1987 TV
I haven't seen it.
miniseries.
Yeah.
You lucky duck. Miniseries adaptation of The Shining
Yeah.
with Stephen Weber and Rebecca De Mornay. It is it's written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Completely made just to spite Stanley Kubrick. Even though like I think he passed away like a few months after it came out.
Oh God.
It is complete. It is the novel. It's 4 hours long. It is
Is it like the It TV series?
without the charm.
Yeah. Well,
What?
what charm?
Tim Curry.
Apart from Tim Curry.
Yeah, well, you don't. It's like that. But
Yeah.
without Tim Curry.
Yes. Okay. Right.
And now, don't get me wrong. Honestly, Stephen Weber as Jack Torrance is very good.
Yeah.
His character arc is actually very well done.
Yeah.
But it just goes way too like it tries to just say right everything's just we're just gonna explain everything.
Yeah.
Nothing has any. It's very very slow.
Yeah.
And I think props to them. They actually did film in the hotel that Stephen King was inspired by.
Oh yeah, that place is.
I think it's called the Stanley Hotel.
It's in Colorado, I think, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he was staying there overnight. He was on his own, and he just got inspired by it. So
Is it
props.
still open? I don't think it is.
I don't know honestly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. But I wouldn't even recommend it. Like it is very very slow paced, and
Yeah.
not even though Stephen Weber does give a very good performance, and Rebecca De Mornay gives a good performance as well. They certainly look more like
the novel, yeah.
Rebecca De Mornay in the 90s was a bit better looking than Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
But aside from some good acting, good performance, Sam Raimi's in it.
That is mental.
He has a cameo in it for like 3 minutes.
Right.
So there's that, and there's the kid playing Danny is okay in it as well. But all the monster effects are all like completely CG.
Yeah, alright.
For a TV budget.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You can imagine
they're
not like the hedge, the maze is gone. They're all the hedge animals are there and stuff. It's not worth it. Even for like if it was like an hour and a half TV special.
Yeah.
Fine. If you're like a Shining aficionado, go for it. But for 4 hours of your time, just watch the films.
Yeah.
Just watch Shining and Doctor Sleep back to back, and I can credit those films. You can watch them back to back.
Oh, they're very like you can clearly see that Doctor Sleep is a sequel. Like
it takes a bit to like when you're thinking about The Shining and like you're watching it, you think, okay, so Rose the Hat is out there somewhere.
Yeah,
doing something.
I mean, we were very harsh on Doctor Sleep. Like, it is a good movie. It is a fun movie to watch.
It is a fun. I wouldn't exactly bring it.
I found it. I found myself enjoying it.
Oh, it's enjoyable, but I wouldn't bring a date to it.
Well, whatever. But I found it enjoyable. Like for people who liked The Shining. Now I'm sure you've already seen it. If you are a big fan of The Shining, I'm sure you've already seen Doctor Sleep. It's not doing brilliant at the box office.
Oh no, it's doing very poorly. Which it's not going to. I didn't expect it. Like The Shining did terrible at the box office, and I do think that I don't think it's going to be in the future revered as much as The Shining.
No, it won't. No.
I think it could go on to become like its own cult classic.
It could be a cult classic. Yeah, no, I
just like Joker, that's a cult classic.
With its $1 billion.
It's up there with Endgame and such.
Yeah, Oscar nominated.
But it could go off and have its own.
I would definitely recommend.
I'd watch it again, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get it on 4K when it comes out.
Yeah, I'll definitely get it. Like I really did. I was about to recommend to watch it, but I mean, if you're listening this far, we've spoiled the whole thing. So I mean,
you've probably already.
I kind of hope you have seen it, yeah.
Well, we didn't spoil heavily. Like the trailers gave away everything with the overlook.
That's true. Yeah,
we only gave away the Jack Torrance, and like that's kind of inevitable.
Yeah,
and it's only in it for 3 minutes.
And I gave you 2 endings, so
pick one.
Yeah. This has been a bit of a shit show of an episode.
Yeah, we literally came up with this.
We need to title this one the same as episode 1. We need a structure. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to be doing next week, but we're hemming and hawing with a couple of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But
If you have any recommendations, let us know.
yeah, no, absolutely. If anyone wants us to talk about any sort of movies, within reason, then yeah, of course, let us know. And yeah, I guess we should sign off, I guess.
Thank you very much for listening once again, putting up with us.
Thank you very much, and yeah,